Hey everyone, Rayo here, and today we are bringing the Thaumanova Reactor Tier 4 Fractal from the Healbrand perspective. So this one can be a pretty tough one for parties. The last fight can be pretty intense, but I'm just going to explain it as best as I can. One thing that will make this Fractal tough is social awkwardness, so fortunately we do not have that today. But yeah, so right here we just cleared the Elite Fire Shaman, or Flame Shaman. And then right here you have the 3 different areas that you need to go to. You have the heat room right here, you have the shield room right here, and then the scientist room right there, and then you have subject 6 at the top. So I'm going to run the shield room because the heat room, I'd rather just show how these kind of function at their core. So shield room, we have someone going to 1, someone going to 2, someone going to 3. I'm going to just follow along to 1. So you grab a shield, and then you want to block while the electric beams are going across. And then you want to dodge them when your shield is on cooldown. You can use your skill 2 to actually stun the golems here. And then once you unlock this collider at 1, the person can go in at 2. They'll have a platform like this. It'll open the door at 3. And then once you open the door at 3, it'll allow you to disable the room. And then that leaves it so you have 3 other colliders to disable. Now, right over here, I'm going to pick up the cooling rod, and I'm going to teleport out. I'm just doing this because the group is probably splitting up over here. This part is very self-explanatory. It's literally just burst down some doors and free some scientists, and then you can interact with the collider at the end. You have 2 minutes to do that. Something of note, though, is where these 2 little red circles are. There's Technician Chib and Technician Griza. Freeing either of them will give you a 5% DPS boost to the boss once you get to the boss, but freeing both of them is a total of 10%. So ideally you want to prioritize freeing them, but it doesn't matter if you actually free any of the scientists. If you don't, you still complete the room. Now while they're doing that, I'm going to finish the heat room. As soon as I pass this blue wall, I'm going to take massive burning damage, and I'm going to use this actually use this cooling rod to help me across. So what I'm going to do is when I go across, I'm going to get a skill 1, and I'm going to hold it down. I'm just holding it down so I can stack up speed, and then I'm going to heal myself, and I'm going to go for this second bucket right here, dodge across the fire, and then I'm going to input the cooling rod, and I get a safe space halfway through the room right here, and then I'm going to heal myself back up. I'm going to wait for some of my cooldowns, and then once I'm ready to go, I'm just going to hold down my skill 1 while I'm still in the same area, or in the safe area. I'm going to wait for this fire to go across. And once the fire goes across, I am just going to book it to the final room. And dodge in. There we go, I'm at the collider panel. Now, there's 2 sides to disable. Just stand in between and double click them both. And then you complete the room. So, by the time that you complete that room, and this room, and that room, most groups will split up and do these 3 rooms simultaneously, and then you all meet at subject 6. Or typically the standard in EU is to start at subject 6 and then split to the other 3 rooms. Either way is fine. So I'm going to save this Smith's Lock Singularity for later because we're going to do subject 6. Now, just explaining subject 6. This is a make or break for a good amount of groups. Subject 6 has a core mechanic of there's 2 ways that groups will deal with it. The primary group, or the primary way of dealing with it, is just to wait for subject 6 to turn into a pancake. Once he's out of being a pancake, you just burst him all the way from 100 to 0 and you finish it really quick. But not all groups can do that. And so the way that the fight actually works is every 5% damage that you do to subject 6 is going to spawn a blue ooze. And if that blue ooze reaches subject 6, it is going to heal the boss for 5% back. And then in tier 3 and tier 4, it'll do the same thing, but at every 25%, and it'll spawn a golden ooze that spawns at every 25% and heals for 25%. Now, this is where groups can get kind of caught up, is if the ooze spawns and it reaches the boss and it heals past a threshold again, it'll reset those ooze spawns again. So you can just be stuck in an endless loop if you don't have enough burst damage. So if that's the case, make sure you're killing those blue oozes, make sure you're killing those golden oozes. It'll take longer, but it'll secure your way through the actual fight. So what we're going to do here is we are going to actually do the block and burn method. What's going to happen is subject 6's attacks can kind of just be sidestepped and all that stuff. And what's going to happen is we're going to wait for subject 6, like I said, to turn into a pancake. Once he turns into a pancake, we're going to wait for that shield to go down. And once it goes down towards the end of it, we are actually going to stack boons, and then we're going to burst it down really quick. Now, it's important that you don't attack during the shield phase, because whenever you attack Subject 6 during the shield phase, it'll get a stack of overload. And when it gets a stack of overload, every 20 stacks, well, I should say once it hits 20 stacks, if you hit Subject 6 with 20 stacks of overload, it's going to do basically one-shot damage every single time you hit Subject 6 with 20 stacks of overload. So here's the pancake. It's in shield form. I'm going to hit once, and you'll see overload. So don't hit that to 20 because it's going to detonate the room. Shield's almost over. Going to go ahead and stack some boons, and now we are going to CC and burst it down. Now, ideally, if you can do Quick Brand or Seraph Brand or something here, then that'll be a lot more helpful than Heal Brand, because you don't really need to heal once you just burst down like that. And as you can see, that made it really smooth, but you can see all the oozes that we just avoided. These are the things that will all heal Subject 6 if they reach Subject 6. That was very, very smooth. And fortunately, I'm running with my guild, so we know how to do these things, but not all groups, not all pub groups will know how to do it effectively. But yeah, just always keep those two functionalities in mind. Now, real quick with this, the boss is going to, as you can see, we are above the platform, and the boss can make these platforms disappear, and you have a special action key. So when you get up here, an effective way of dealing with this is calling out an order. Everyone has a special action key, and so you want to cascade out. Oh, wait. Didn't realize you called all 5. All right, so I'm going to be 1. So basically, we each use this. That way, when the platforms disappear, we can all just stay on the same tile, and we don't have to move around. Basically, the more you move around here, the more dangerous it actually makes it for your party, because if you're making platforms disappear all over the place, then it leaves less room for you to stand. Now, there's a couple ways that the boss makes the platforms disappear. It's going to be like an electric beam, and anywhere you run while you're connected to that beam is going to target a platform to disappear, so you can move slowly and make only 3 disappear, or you can move really fast and make half the platform disappear. So make sure that you kind of take it slow. Ideally, though, we are just going to cascade our Hex Shields, and then we are just going to heal through the boss fight. As a heal brand, take note of the 50% phase, because that's where a lot of agony comes in and a lot of AoE damage happens. So just always be prepared for that. I'm going to call it when we do this fight. So we are going to pull. I'm going to say ready, now that I'm done with the explanation. And then here we go. We're going to go on in. Start off with the boon stack. This is the electric beam. I'm going to wait for 2 glows, 3. I'm going to Hex Shield right there. And then I'm just going to make sure I boon stack. Swapping to Axe Shield to get that Fury down. That way I can also put my shield on, or my weapon swap on cooldown. Giving some Aegis. And I'm going to do F3 tome to prepare for the 50% phase. All the AoE damage is happening now, so I'm going to make sure that I'm in Tome 2 right here, and I'm going to make sure that I just overheal a little bit to sustain us through all the agony damage here, and we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and use my Hex Shield just to secure the kill here, because we're doing very good with our Hex Shields, and that just made that fight super duper easy. As you can see, so there's a very good benefit to having an organized group or having some sort of communication before the fight and cascading those hex fields. So anyways, guys, that was Thaumanova Reactor. If you have any questions, then make sure to drop a comment below. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to like and comment on this video or subscribe to the channel to get more notifications for whenever I post a new video. If you want to catch all the Tier 4 Healbrand videos, then make sure to follow the playlist in the video description. If you want to check out the builds that I'm running, then you can go ahead and check out the video description for a link to my build video. Anyways, guys, I'm Rayo. I'll see you next time. Take care.